Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we acquire the capacity to study and understand the scriptures. May our study be brilliant and may we not cavil at each other. Om, peace, peace, peace unto us all. Dear brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to all of you. We welcome all of you for the online satsang of the Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center of Arcadia. We are continuing the study circle on the Brahma Sutras, the commentary by Swami in Sutra Vahini. We have been doing the Sutra 9. So we are going to start on page 41 in the PDF. In the book I have, it is page 59. It could be varying, but you can easily access the PDF online and see on page 41. For the sake of continuity, we started this aphorism 9, where it says the whole source of everything is Brahman. So this Brahman, so all of us, let us be very clear. People get what is Brahman is not Brahma. Brahma is the creator. So Brahman is the supreme self or supreme consciousness. It is attributeless, it is formless, so it is nirguna nirakara. No attributes, no form, no name. It is beyond time, space, and causation. So this particular one, it manifests itself by it wills, as the scriptures say, Ekoham Bahushyam. I'm only one, I become many. So that is, God wanted to do that. Then become mainly three. What we see, Jagat, which is all the manifested universe we see, and Jiva, we are all the Jivas, embodied beings, and Ishvara, the one who controls this whole universe, in whom everything is created, sustained, and dissolved. Like Nirguna Brahman, there is no creation. So everything. So Brahma, the creator, is part of this Ishvara. And then Vishnu, the sustainer, is part of this thing. And the dissolving, the Rudra, the Shiva, is the aspect of Ishvara. So this is manifest universe. From the Nirguna, Nirakara, you get Saguna and Sakara. But most of us dwell in the Saguna and Sakara. Always we worship this Swami with beautiful name and form, Rama, Krishna, whether it is Jesus, Buddha, Shirdi Sai, because we all can relate to that. It's very difficult to relate, which is something beyond form and name and space and time, because we are all having body consciousness. So that is why Lord Krishna, that is why you go to the chapter 12, he says, Kleshodhikarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam. This path to attain the Nirguna Brahman is very klesham. Klesham is hard. Adhikam means very. Adhikotaram, very, very hard for people with body consciousness. But Swami said, all masters said, that is the ultimate truth. So we have to reach it. How do you reach it? Through the Saguna and Sakara. You go on, contemplate this God with name, form, and attribute. Then a stage will come and everything is pure, and you are in that stage, which automatically will experience the Nirguna and Nirakara. So because people say we need to affirm, I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, God is, I am God. But it is coming from the lips, not by experience. For that, Lord Krishna says in the same chapter, how do the people who have attained that Nirguna Brahman have? Sanniyam Indriya Gramam. They have complete mastery of the senses. We can all verify whether do we have the mastery of senses. If not, still we have to work on that. Sarvatra Samabuddhayaha. Always equal-minded. Nothing bothers them. Praise or blame, honor or dishonor, profit or loss. Nothing bothers. So they're equal-minded. And sarvatra samabuddhaya, te sarvabhuta hiterataha. They do the good to all beings. Sarvabhuta, not some beings. Some people don't like snakes, we don't like tigers, lizards, cockroaches. So sarva, but if you have that, that means no, you embrace everything like Nag Mahashai, even termites coming, good, eat, or cat scratching your face, good, good. So they see everything is divine in everything. So that is not easy stage. So if you have that stage, complete mastery of the senses and equal-minded in all situations and loving all creation, then you are ripe for experiencing Nirguna Niraka. We don't need to get discouraged. So you start somewhere. That is why there are people who attain that highest state, like Tyagaraja, worshipping as Lord Rama, Mirabai, as Lord Krishna, and the great Jesuit saints, they did it worshipping Jesus. So it can be attained, but this is the path, because then it gives purification. Because Vedanta otherwise is something, it is paradoxical. We say there is no birth and death, right? But every day we see people being born, celebrate, and then people dying, oh, cry. But the ultimate truth is no birth and death. But we see the opposite. We see people dying and thing. We say we are ever free. But we see we are all bound by the family ties, friends, relationship, properties, this, that. So we are seeing we are bound. But and the Vedanta says we are perfect. We are perfect, but we have all these imperfections, negative qualities, this thing. But we are perfect. So those are all the ultimate truths, but it is not our experience. So we have to have that being an experience. So that is why we have to go through this thing. And last week we talked about how to attain that. That is why in Taittiriya Upanishad, the Bhruguvali, so where the teacher teaches the student, they say, how do you attain that stage of Brahman, which is also called Atma or Supreme Self, also Supreme Consciousness. So we said it is like shirt and undershirt and jacket. Similarly, you travel from the food sheath, which is Annamaya Kosha, to Pranamaya Kosha, vital sheath. From there, you go to Manomaya Kosha, mental sheath. From there, you go to Vijnanamaya Kosha, the intellectual sheath. And then you go to the Anandamaya Kosha, bliss sheath. So that is the last stage. First, but most of us in body sheath, so food, eating, if at all, maybe Pranamaya and then Manomaya, mind. But we need to go to those stages. For that, that's why his teacher says, go and do tapas. Somebody told me, oh, you told tapas, everybody will be scared. Doing tapas in the modern age, tapas means, those days people see, put head down, feet up, there's a lot of rain, storms, and then all the anthills growing around them still. So that is why we don't need to worry about that. That is not tapas. Just go to Lord Krishna, chapter 17, called Shaddatraya Vibhaga Yogam. He tells what is tapas. 14, 15, 16 shlokas. He says, what is tapas by thought, word, and deed. What is Vachaka tapas? Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam priyahitam chayat swadhyabhyasanam chaiva vangmayam tapuchyate. Anudvekaram, you don't talk anything which agitates people. Anudvekaram, so don't try to cause. I think the air conditioner is on. Somebody forgot. No, he's doing that, Charanjit. So let us make sure you shut up. That this regular habits we should have like 7:15 or 7 o'clock, 7:15 we should shut off. That is what is okay. So anudvekaram, so not something which thing, so which is agitates people. Satyam, whatever we say, should be truthful. And priyahitam chayat, something which is beneficial to them. Please help them. And then swadhyayam, that is what we are doing. Study of scriptures, study of Upanishads, study of Vedas, Bible, Christ, whatever it is, the words of God. This is tapas in the world level. That means telling the truth and talking something which is helpful to others, not hurting by our words, and reading the scriptures. That is which we all can do that. So you don't need to starve ourselves or torture ourselves. Then what is manasika tapas? Mental level. It says, manah prasada saumyotyam aun maunam atma vinigraha. So just there, always have pure heart, calm mind, maunam, talk as less as possible, and control of the mind. So these are the various things, control of the senses. These are all the mental tapas. So just to have that bhava samshuddhi. That means, Swami says always, think good, think no evil. Pure thoughts, calm mind, and purity of the heart. And most importantly, just to have no agitations. Prasada buddhi, that means always serene and peaceful, always be cheerful, always be happy. So this is manasik tapas. So this also it is not start. Then what is sharirik tapas? That also Lord Krishna says, Deva Dvija Guru Prajna Pujana. That means you always love and respect elders, people who are in the path of Brahma Jnana, your gurus, and devatas, gods. So whenever you worship them, respect them, that is sharirik tapas. Deva Dvija Guru Prajna Pujanam, Shaucham, always have cleanliness, both external cleanliness and internal cleanliness. Both are very important. And Shaucham Arjavam, this is very important. Arjavam means this harmony of thought, word, and deed. So you should have people, as I said, Manas Ekam, Vachas Ekam, Karman Ekam, Mahatmanaha. What they think, they say, and what they say, they do. That is important. But in this age, Swami says, think something, say something, do something else. That is duratmanaha. They are bad, very. So Sharirak tapas is keep the harmony of thought, word, and deed. Then Ahimsa. This is also Sharirak tapas. Ahimsa means don't hurt. Not that you are not, don't go and beat up people. We don't know, very few. Anyway, there are people who do that too. Ahimsa. Physical violence you don't do. You don't do any violence to the words also, verbal violence. Don't hurt. And finally, most importantly, thought violence. Don't think negative, bad about people, vengeful thoughts, hateful thoughts. So if you do that, this is tapas. So somebody raised the question, oh, how can we do tapas? We are so busy at work, this family situation. So this is, anybody can do these things. Sharirak tapas, manas, this penance at the level of the body, mind, and speech. So then you will be able to experience these highest things. Then we will travel from the body level, gross level, to subtle and subtler and subtlest. So that is where we talk. So now today we'll be starting on page 41 in the, your PDF, and here on page 59, which starts with Atma is also spiritual bliss.
Atma is also spiritual bliss. Brahman encompasses all, and awareness of every entity is awareness of Brahman itself. It cannot be differentiated or divided. Spiritual bliss, Ananda, is all. Brahman, the bliss sheath, is also the individual Atma, Jivatma, appearing as individualized. The quality cannot be identified and considered apart from the thing processing it. The Atma is spiritual bliss, whether universalized as the highest Atma, Paramatma, or particularized as the individual Atma. Spiritual bliss cannot be measured out as less or more. Full of spiritual bliss means spiritual bliss itself, not something having bliss. So the individual Atma is not less, and the highest Atma is not more spiritual bliss. They are both the same spiritual bliss. In the ordinary worldly sense, too, spiritual bliss is the characteristic of every living being. As a consequence, every human being seeks to express and develop it. Living beings are found renouncing various desires and lines of conduct in order to attain spiritual bliss. But belief that spiritual bliss can be secured from external objects is a sign of ignorance. From all outside you, grief. From all within you, happiness. Sarvam paravasham dukkam. Sarvam atvavasham sukham. According to this axiom, when one feels that one's spiritual bliss, ananda, is dependent on external objects, one is moving beyond oneself and courting grief. One plunges into needless grief by the enslavement to objects that, according to one's fancy, can make one happy. One becomes the target for anxiety and worry. One has to suffer much, just as a person afflicted with thirst running toward a mirage gets nothing to quench the thirst and has a miserable end. Therefore, the attempt to derive spiritual bliss through external objects and external activities is not commendable at all. Those who long for genuine spiritual bliss have to turn their attempts inward, bound to the Atma. One point at this juncture. When it is said that Rama made Bhima a wealthy person or a well informed person, does it not follow that at the beginning Rama was wealthier or more knowledgeable than Bhima? Rama was indigent and ignorant. How could he transform Bhima into a wealthy or knowledgeable person? Obviously, it would not be possible. Swami is very clear that going towards outside objects is not going to give that bliss. Going inward will give the bliss. So Swami also talks about Strayoma, Prayoma. That's what it is here. Always outside objects or external objects, we cannot derive bliss. Even though that is the truth. Of course, Swami says whatever Swami says is truth. But experience-wise, people normally outside all these objects attracts. It looks beautiful, and we get distracted, and we go behind it. And apparently, for some time, it will also prove to be sukham. The outside objects proves because of our experience going on, okay, it's going because everybody is going towards it, so we get attracted by that. But always what Swami is reminding us is go inward, go inward. When something like that happens, then we have to constantly bring back our mind towards the inner vision. So the question that for to me at least is, when Swami was physically present, of course, at least my experience is that this paravasham, dukkham, all that stuff is basically when looking at Swami, when darshan and sparshan, sambhashan, and whatever we do have, it is apparently it didn't seem external because we enjoyed so much of it. And suddenly, April 24th, 2011 came, and suddenly it proven that, that physical presence is not there now. And there was a little bit of a dip, and everybody had to take that truth behind it. Swami is still there, but we were not able to see him. So if he is internalized at that time itself, I think that would have been easier. But it's a constant sadhana. I think the question comes back to Dr. Reddy is, how do we, that experience what we had with Swami, which was definitely everybody would say it is Sukham and no question about it. How do we experience now? And that which is the most attractive, most everything for, at least for Sai devotees, how do we, if that happens, automatically the other objects we are talking about here, external objects, will fall away. So how do we really experience that? Then I think that is more, it will take automatically towards Brahman. That's what I would feel. But again, that is a question that comes. How do we go inward and practice what Swami is saying? And of course, there are so many things. Swami also gives tools. Maybe we can remember that. But that is the question we have. So how do we really go inward, even though apparently all these distractions come and challenges?
So here, I think one thing we should, in the beginning, it is very clearly said, Swami, because we think of Atma and Paramatma. That means we are Atma, we are small, Paramatma is big. Swami says both are the same spiritual bliss. The comparison they can give, they usually is in the ocean. The ocean is huge, but the wave, the foam, or the bubble there, if you take that same water, it is the same water, it will be same salty, the same characters. The huge ocean, which is Satchidananda, will have the same character as the little water. Everything is the same. So we should have. And another example people say is between Ghata Akasha and then the real Akasha, the space. And Ghata means in pot. In pot there is a space. So there is also space. It looks limited, but the minute you break the part, that space becomes one with the whole space, right? Then it is the same space. You think it is limited. It is nowhere different from that other space. Similarly, the water which is in the bubble, wave is no different from the ocean. Similarly, we are part of that supreme bliss, supreme self, supreme consciousness, supreme Brahman. Then why are we not able to experience, he was asking. So for that, very simple. What did Swami say? His name we said many times. Answer. SAI. See always inside. Not sometimes. See always inside. Then you have Baba. Being, awareness, bliss and Atma. Satchidananda. If you go inside, so you have got the Satchidananda. But we are searching somewhere outside. That is the whole foolishness. That is what the problem is. And they have saints who have shown, like Ramana Maharshi, he was in Arunachalam, just in his loin cloth, he was always bliss, and he gave bliss to so many people who followed his teachings. So he didn't go anywhere, just stuck to one place and just him, because he was always Atma Rama. That means you just revel in your Atma. But our senses go outwards. They want to enjoy sense objects. That is the nature. So, in these Kathopanishads, there is another story where the young boy, he's Nachiketa, he was not even Yaras, he was a young man. Your senses are very powerful that time, young man. You want to enjoy this, family, this. But then the Lord Yama, that means death, we are all going to face one day. It could be when you are 10 years old or 30 years old, 50, 70, 80, that is for sure. That is certain. So this boy is smart enough at the young age when he offered, I will give you all the wonderful family life, you have luxuries in life, or all the wealth in the world, all the power you have, and all the longevity, you can live any length. But this boy said, will it give me permanent bliss? So he's smart. He was trying to take him away because he want to see the qualifications of the disciple, whether you are ready. We all think, I want Brahma Vidya, but are we ready? But this man, I don't care for all that. I don't want that. I want the real knowledge by which I am immortal and I am always in bliss. That is the time he tells him about Shreyo Marg and Preyo Marg. That that means something which leads you in the right path. Shreya means something which is good for you, and another is which is pleasing for you. As you was asking about, why we are sometimes happy. That is why Swami says you call that samtosham. It is only samtosham. It is only temporary pleasure. Pleasure is interval between two pains. You won't have permanent pleasure. It's very clear. This is spiritual laws. Nobody can escape. If somebody thinks you can have the greatest pleasure by these sense objects. The people, Buddha, he was a king, he has a beautiful family, his wife. He found that didn't give happiness. He went in the real search of the bliss and he showed to the world what it is. And same thing, all the great masters. So it is not there outside, but that is why there, who is a hero? He asked Kathopanishad. He is a hero who goes inwards, not the hero who goes on the Mount Everest. They're all great heroes, but the real hero, he says, Kachid Dhiraha. Who is there? Pratyagatma, whose instead of vision outward, it goes inwards. That is the hero. People always in the leading in the contemplative life. That is why they are called Nandati, Nandati, Nandatyeva. They're always in that stage of bliss. So it needs constant practice. You're asking, well, when Swami was there, we all enjoyed, no doubt, because when God comes in the human form, it is so beautifully enjoy his thing. I remember one time we were in the Swami interview. It happened a couple of times. So Swami was talking and then he says, let us get up after a time. I said, Swami, it was only 10 minutes already. Swami showed me the clock. See, I have been there with you for 1.5 hours. We started at 7:30 a.m. and it is already 9 a.m. That is the time they start the bhajan in the mandir. Because he goes there and sits in the mandir. So he has to give the attention to others. We are all, because one is selfish, we want to be with Swami. Second is, when you are in the presence of the highest, you lose track of time. 1.5 hours looks like 10 minutes because you are enjoying the divine bliss. But that should continue all the time, because Swami told one time in Vrindavan, we were all, students were there, they spend, some of the students even don't go on vacation. They stay with Swami because they don't even go to see their parents. They want to be with Swami. Then after the vacation, they had to go back to school. So they said, Swami, we have to go and then see. So they were crying, literally crying. I saw them. Swami said, as long as you think it is only here I am, you will always be miserable. Take these experiences. And he gave the beautiful example, like a cow goes quickly, grazes and eats a lot of grass. And then after eating it quickly, then it goes in a quiet corner and brings out and chews the cud, then enjoys, goes, and it gives nutrition. Similarly, whatever experiences we have with Swami, when we saw the darshan, he took the letter, he was blessing us, throwing the personal or even what we witnessed, you relive those experiences. Then they become part of you, not just depending on the external situation. So Swami gave the example. That is how you can make it not just on that particular time, you can continue it. And another thing Swami said, Arjuna is such a great hero. Lord Krishna told Bhagavad Gita to him, and his Arjuna means pure. But he, after the Lord Krishna left, he could not, the one who had Pashupadastram, who could he attack great heroes, armies like even Bhishma, all that man, he could not even fight with tribal people who were taking away women. He was supposed to take care of them. He was very weak because he says all the time he was looking for Krishna outside. That is why Swami said there was a mistake of Arjuna. He didn't internalize Krishna. He should have that experience. Hey, Krishna is not gone, because he's gone, like we are thinking Swami is gone. He thought he's gone. He didn't go. He says you should have experience. Lord Krishna is with me. Even now, he is my Hridayavasi. He is indweller, not just Dwarakavasi. As long as you think he's in Dwaraka, that is it, you lose him one day. But if you think Hridayavasi, so same thing, we should have feeling God is with us always. Though the physical form we enjoyed, actually even Shirdi Baba Satya, you read it, he tells a man, Tharkat's friend, that you think I'm in only Shirdi, that means you don't understand me. And even Lord Krishna says that, Avajananti mam mudha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam ajananto mamabhuta maheshwaram. These people, Avajan, they insult me thinking I'm this body, I'm this Krishna. They don't know I am the param bhavam ajananto mamabhuta. I am the all-pervading universal reality. They don't understand. They think I am this particular thing. Another place also is Abhyaktam Vyaktimapanyam Mama Buddhaya. These ignorant people. So he's telling all of us dull-headed people who confine God to a name and form. That's why Swami said there is only one God. Who is that? Omnipresent. So he didn't say there's only one God, Rama, or there's only one God, Krishna, or Jesus, or Sai. There's only one God. He is omnipresent, who is worshipped in many forms. But don't confine, because the problem of our ignorance, we confine him to a name, a form, and a place. So first is go inward, contemplate, and take inner view. Then automatically we will have, Swami will reveal the truth. But the problem is, we need, I said, if you want to have that inner view, you need all those three things. Sanyam, master, control our senses, and have that equal-mindedness, and the love for all beings. So that they are, but you can start with the worship of the name and form. So that is how you carry him with us inside. Okay, anything else that covers our discussion? Okay, now you can go to the next section, and that will finish the aphorism 9.
Supreme Self is being awareness bliss. Brahman is the embodiment of bliss. Ananda Swarupa is bliss itself. So every living thing receives spiritual bliss from Brahman. He is all knowledge, so he awards, arouses, and advances knowledge in all. God is the granter, the promoter of spiritual bliss. This is confirmed in the aphorism. The blissful one is the Supreme Self. Since the statement is repeated many times, Anandamayo Vyasat. Moreover, that very Brahman that is described in mantra is sung. Mantra Varnikam Evacha. Brahman is being, awareness, bliss. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. This sacred axiomatic formula, mantra, also refers to the same Brahman, that is spiritual bliss. Brahman is truth, Sathya. Brahman is knowledge, jnana. Brahman is infinity, Ananta. Truth is a synonym for bliss. It does not mean anything else. Truth implies indivisible, immeasurable bliss. It cannot be affected by limitations of space, the passage of time, or the varying moods of the experiencers. Spiritual bliss will itself purify time, space, and the individual. These three are subdued by spiritual bliss. Spiritual bliss is not subservient to or bound to time, space, or the individual. Therefore, God, who is designated and described by the mantra, can be known only partially through the mantra. He does not limit the mantra may limit him. Spiritual bliss is the bond that binds both. So there are several questions here. One of the things is he does not limit the mantra may limit him. You might have to enlighten us on that, what Swami means by that. And we all often, the only way that we talk about God is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. And that's how we realize it is very clear. Spiritual bliss is not limited, it's infinite. It will itself purify time. It's not, it will itself purify time, space, and the individual. These three are subdued by spiritual bliss, Swami says. So that Anandamaya, whatever we talked about, Anandamaya question, Bhrigu, is exactly what Swami is talking about here. But the question is, I need to understand this. He does not limit the mantra may limit him.
Yeah, so this is, as I said here, so much here says same thing. Supreme Self is being, awareness, and bliss. That is Satchidananda. That is Supreme Self or Supreme Consciousness, Atma, Brahman, they are used. So just don't get mixed up. So they are all convey the same truth. And in the same Taittiriya Upanishad, there is the one which says that what is God? If you want a definition of God, these three words they say, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. That is why Swami sang that beautiful bhajan, which we all like, because Swami loved it, because that conveys one definition of God is God. Who is God? God is omnipresent, He is everywhere. Another is, we want to describe Him, says Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. He is truth and He is infinite. Infinite means you cannot confine Him. You cannot describe Him by your thought. Avangmanas gocharam. Ato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasaha. The mind, this speech cannot describe Him. So it goes beyond that. That is why infinite. Finite is something limited we can see. This is beyond the comprehension of the mind and express of Anantam. So, and Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahman. So this is Jnanam. This is complete knowledge. Knowledge is not like a regular knowledge. That is why two things we should differentiate. Jnanam means, oh yeah, he's a PhD, he got Nobel Prize. So that is not Jnanam. What is Jnanam? What is Jnanam? Advaita Darshanam Jnanam. They gave a definition. What is real Jnanam? If you say that guy is a Jnani, oh, he knows all Vedas, or he knows, he went to PhD, he had 2 PhDs, he has MD, he is no good. Like Sri Ramakrishna said, he didn't even go to high school, useless, that is no good. He says, even Swami said, one of my friends, he already did PhD, and he says, what did you study? He is smart before, nothing, Swami. He knows he studied, but because before Swami, before the only knowledge is Adhyatma Vidya. When we didn't have that, our knowledge is zero. So jnanam is Advaita Darshanam jnana. Till we start that, we don't have jnanam. So that is, we should understand these words are very important. And Anantam, I already said, it is not finite. And then Satyam, we all say, oh, Satyam is Swami is telling bliss. How can somebody tells truth? Oh, you are handsome, or this is flower is nice, or the milk is white. Oh, that is all bliss because that is all truth. It is not truth. It is two difference. One is Satyam and Nijam. Nijam means you tell the way. That is fact. Anything which you tell is a fact. Oh, sunrise is at 6 a.m. That is a fact. Sunset is at 8 p.m. That is a fact. But that is not truth. Satyam is Trikala Badhyam Satyam. Satyam is beyond the time, space, and causes. Because sun never sets, sun never rises, ultimately sun. Because of the rotation, it looks like sun is rising, sun is setting. So there is a difference between the Nijam and Satyam. The real Satyam, they call Trikala Bhadhyam Satyam. That is the only thing bliss. And that is why Swami get us into touch with this Satyam Jnanam. Coming to mantra. What is mantra? Mantra is Mananat Trayate iti mantraha. So by contemplating which, it will save you. That's the classical thing. That's why we every 2 months, every day also we chant this Gayatri mantra, which is supposed to illuminate. And there are many, many mantras. If you stay for every god, deity, there is a mantra. So in Buddha mantra, Jesus, everything is a mantra because at that time you contemplate on the Saguna and Sakara, the God with name and God with form by repeating the mantra. And if you go on repeating the mantra, you become mantra siddha. That means the deity will appear before you at that time. So it has happened. Many people, Tyagaraja here, darshan of Rama and Mirabai, thousands of years after they left the earth, still they could see the thing. It's not they are gone, still they could see that. So this mantra will make you reach, but God, he was talking about, so mantra will make you reach, but God is beyond all mantras. That is why in Lalita Sahasranam beautifully said, mantra sara, shastra sara, chandra sara, talodari. She is the essence of all mantras, not some mantras. And all chandas, all Vedas, and Shastras, all Shastras. So, God, you cannot restrict. You can reach Him through this contemplation, repetition of the mantras, but He is something which is beyond all that. So, He is the source of all mantras. He is the source of all Veda. That's why Apaurishayam, Vedas think, they are the breath of God. They just came and it came. So, He is source of mantras. You can reach through mantras, but he is not confined to them. He is beyond, because that is why very definition infinite, that means he is beyond all that thing. But you can reach through the mantras, but he is not confined to the mantras. He is beyond that. So that is the thing we need to remember. But mantras is the greatest technique which is used thousands of years by seekers to have that experience of divinity. So it is still powerful, but don't think you can bind God just by mantra. You can bind God only by bhakti love. Okay, so just we'll continue.
So basically, mantra is you take the mantra to in the path of the spiritual to realize God. But God is not just in that mantra, because once you do, you realize that God is infinite. Through the mantra, you get to the point that even that mantra at some point will fall away, that you'll be in that state of bliss. That's what Swami is saying.
Yeah, that is very important, because that is why Sri Ramakrishna, that Gayatri he was doing, says, once you experience Divine Mother, he has the vision, this Gayatri will fall off, this thing is fall off, then because there is something beyond expression you will get, then all these things is a means to reach the end. Once you reach, nothing matters. These are all superfluous. That is what it is. Okay, we'll continue next.